I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right, greetings and welcome to I Am Sure Sports. This is the second show for the day. I am your host, Maninsman, and today I am in esteemed and privileged company. I truly believe that this is going to be a good one, right? A very, very good one. Very, very good one. I have an excellent football in mind, especially on the female side, who has been very, very successful, and we're going to have him on. But before I bring him on, I have to have you soak out there before you see him and you hear his voice. You have to get a little bit of annoying me first to kind of get you into your right attitude. So let me share with you a couple of things. First and foremost, thank you to the sponsors of this video. They are Launch Legacy. Launch Legacy is where they handle risk and seek legacy. So for all your personal insurance needs in Canada and the USA, visit them at launchlegacy.com or call or text them at 647-989-0782. When you get to that point in life when you stop working for money, they have a way of making your money work for you. Also want to say a big thank you as well, yes, to Prestige Finance. Prestige Finance, lending a helping hand when you need it the most. We always have one thought for you to ponder on, and today I want to tell you the story of the Golden Buddha. The story of the Golden Buddha. If you read this book, I mean, if you're in leadership at any level, this is a good book for you to read. It's by Tim Elmore, and this book by Tim Elmore speaks about leadership, right? And in the book, he basically shares a story of the Golden Buddha, and it talks about when the government in 1955, when the government of Thailand decided to build a highway in Bangkok, and what they decided to do, they asked the monks at the monastery to this clay Buddha that they saw to kind of remove it and bring it to the temple. All right, so of course the monks got to work by trying to move the Buddha, and what happened is that it began to fall apart. And so they got very concerned, and they wondered what was happening. And rain, there was rain, and it just kept on falling apart. They covered it, but the chief monk went out in the night to just check on it. And when he checked on it, he realized something very awesome, right? So he took a flashlight, he took a chisel, and he started like drilling away at this big lump of clay that was the golden Buddha. It ended up that he realized that there was something beneath the clay, and so he called all the other monks, and they got to work that night. When they completed, in terms of moving all the clay, they realized that it was the golden Buddha. It was solid gold, and it is the largest known solid gold statue in the history of the world. Right, and the golden Buddha in the story is a metaphor for the potential that's hidden inside each of us and inside each of our culture. Each of us is gold on the inside, and as our work culture, and often we have to chip away at our outer layer of clay to get to the gold that is on the inside. And so we need flashlight, we need vision, we need precision, we need a chisel to chip away, and we also need a hammer, and that hammer represents determination. So make sure you have vision, precision, and determination, because deep within you is a golden Buddha. Even in the midst of rubble, there is gold. There is a gem in the garbage. And so don't discount even what you think are not the best things in life. All right. So let that be an inspiration for you today. Well, you have heard enough of me. I'll try not to say anything more for the time that we'll have this great American collegiate no soccer coach. No, we have to say soccer, right? Because football and soccer are two different things in the United States, right? So for today's interview, when I say soccer, the Jamaicans know that I'm talking about football. All right. When I say soccer, the Americans know that I'm not talking about football. All right. So, Coach Brian, welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you, Omar. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yes, this is so good having you, because you're one of those coaches who you have had. I mean, I must be honest that I don't know what your career was before you got to University of Tennessee, but I mean, in I think 10 years at University of Tennessee, you have done it all. And I don't know why you leave like such a successful program to take on FSU, except that you had a great Jamaican in Kadijah Bonishaw, and you spotted a great Jamaican at FSU, and they said, "Hey, wherever the Jamaicans are, might as well I just follow them." so,
That's
so
right.
um,
That's right.
yeah, but just tell us a little bit, just give us a little background about how you got into coaching and football, female football at that coach.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, I've been, unfortunately and fortunately, I'm an older guy. I'm now into my 50s, so all that means is I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been coaching collegiately since 1998. So this will be, I think, my 25th fall, or maybe I've had 25 falls. I don't know. 17 years as a head coach. You referenced being at Tennessee the last 10 years. The 10 years before being at Tennessee, I was at the University of Maryland, and I was 3 years the assistant men's coach at Tennessee. At Maryland, and then 7 years the head women's coach at the University of Maryland. And thought I was going to be at Maryland for a long time. That was home to me. That's where I grew up. And then the University of Tennessee came calling, and I initially said no to that job because we were pretty good, and we were in a conference, the ACC, which is the conference that Florida State is in, and it was one of the top conferences. But Tennessee kind of swept me away, and a lot of very attractive things about Tennessee, and the facilities and the investment in women's football, or as we say, as you said in the intro, soccer, was phenomenal, and that drew me to Tennessee. And I had a great time at Tennessee, great 10 years, blessed to coach a lot of very good players. Obviously, Bunny Shaw being right up there at the top, and then And then really the opportunity to come to Florida State. Florida State in the last 10 years has been the best program in the United States for women's soccer. And
Whoa.
yes,
Yeah.
they're the current reigning national champions. And so, Jody Brown is a current national and ACC champion. And
Whoa.
so the opportunity to take over a program like this was really, really difficult to pass up. But like you said, I had a great life. I had a great program. We had great players. We won our own championship this past year at Tennessee. So it was not an easy decision. But
Yeah.
in many ways, I was ready and excited for a new challenge. And this is certainly going to be just that. But as I joked with you before we came on air, when Bunny left, that was kind of the same time that Jody was kind of coming onto the scene. And so we at Tennessee, we recruited Jody hard. I went to see her at her school in Orlando, and she and I texted a bunch and spoke a bunch, and then she chose Florida State, which I understand. And then Bunny, when I took the Florida State job, Bunny sent me a text message. And he said, "You really wanted to coach Jody that badly, huh?"
Yeah.
And I said, "You're darn right I did." So I'm very, very blessed and very excited to be coaching Jody the next few years.
Awesome. And just quickly explain to us what are some of the key differences, because you did 7 years coaching males, and the next 20 so years you'd say coaching female. What are the
Yep.
major differences? Which one you find like, okay, you know what, this is easier, this is harder, these are some of the challenges?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the two things that are the same are, it's the game, right? And so, the techniques and the tactics are really the same. And so you got to focus on the game. And then you're coaching people, right? And whether it's coaching a guy or coaching a woman, you got to get to know the person and connect with the individuals. And that's how you always get the most out of the individuals. And I always take a lot of pride in that, in being a kind of a relationship guy. And no matter whether you're coaching, hard-headed boys, right, who have, some big egos, there are plenty of soft boys too, who really want an arm put around them and want to be cared for and loved as much as they want to be pushed. And then women, I'd say a little bit of the difference is a lot of times they want to be coached sometimes more than a male does, right? Sometimes in general, guys just want to go play. They want to play, put the ball down, put the ball out, and go play. Whereas women they tend to want more answers, and they want information, and they want feedback, and they want relationships. And so there's something very gratifying about coaching women. And like I said, I've been doing it the last 17 consecutive years as a head coach, and I could never see myself going back to coaching guys. I really love my life. I love my life, and I love the relationships that we build, and we have a lot of fun. But we also treat them like high level athletes, because that's what they are. They're just as competitive. They sometimes get a bad rap, and so much focus on men's football and men's sports in this country in general. But women are extremely competitive, and they want to win just as badly as the guys do. And, in training sessions, we have to tell them to ease back a little bit so they don't hurt each other and kick each other, because they are just as competitive, and it hurts just as bad to them as it does men when they lose and things don't go well. So I love that side to them. So I'd say it's very relational, and it fits me well. Yet we coach, Bunny. But I think about a Bunny Shaw, right? Nobody hates to lose more than a Bunny Shaw, right? The kid is competitive. She wants to win all the time. It matters to her. And I will forever be obviously blessed to have called myself Bunny Shaw's college coach.
Yeah. And one of the other questions is, in the United States, in terms of numbers, the participation in soccer for female is huge. You're
Yes.
number one in the world. Probably best have the best female Olympic team, probably the best
Yep.
under 20s, under 17 in the world, ranked number
Yes.
one for so many years.
Yes.
So it means that it is highly competitive. I
Yes.
mean, more than any other female sport. So how do you manage to keep up with that competitiveness, being able to recruit players?
Yep.
Because I mean, this is it for female sports in America. Yes, there is
Yep.
basketball, but there's more persons playing soccer
Yes.
than basketball at a professional level, right?
Yep.
So how difficult it is for you as a coach to even recruit, to convince like a
Yep.
Bunny Shaw to come to
Yep.
Tennessee and other players, because
Yep.
you have had other good players that have come through
Yes.
the Tennessee system, and
Yep.
you'll probably have to recruit at Florida State.
Yep. I think the first thing is um, lucky enough, like I am, to be at a great institution and be in a great school that plays in a great conference that kids in general want to go to, right? A lot of kids, when I was at Maryland, a lot of kids wanted to come to Maryland because Maryland had a good soccer reputation. Same thing with Tennessee, and now again with Florida State. So I have a great platform, right? It makes my job a lot easier. It's not easy, right? Because we still recruit against all the other good competitive schools. But that's where, like we talked about before, about coaching people, it becomes about relationships and connecting with people, the kids and the parents knowing that you're going to take care of them, that you're going to look after them as individuals, and you're not just going to treat them, kind of like pieces of meat that are just inhuman beings, that they are individuals first. But then you're also going to help them become better players, right? And you're going to care about their education, and you're going to help them if they have dreams of playing on their national teams and they have dreams about playing professionally. You're going to help them develop and get better as players, and they need to see that and hear that and believe that. And then, like I said, real quickly, the academic piece, right? We are. It's not professional, right? It's an educational environment still, and so convincing people that you're going to get a good education and we're going to take care of kids and help them see their education through. So again, it comes back to people and relationships for me. And as a result, right, we've been fortunate to have some success over the years.
How gratifying is it for you as a coach, having worked with Kadijah Shaw, other players who have represented the United States and other nations, to see them playing in the top leagues in the world, the leagues in the States or in Europe? How gratifying is that for you as a coach? I mean, is it more important than winning the conference titles? Are they at the same level? Which one matters the most? Getting these players to the best they can be, or getting as many titles as I can?
It is all phenomenal, right? Achieving success is what we all want to do. And I think back, and I was actually scrolling through my photos on my phone just last week, and I found the picture of Bunny and myself at her graduation, right? So that's a very gratifying day, right? That's back in May of 2019. That was a great day for the Shaw family. It was a great day for Tennessee soccer. So again, it's education. Watching, and then just last weekend, right? I watched the FA Cup final, watching Bunny Shaw start for Man City. That is a proud day for me as a coach to watch her play. Watching her in the World Cup, summer of 2019, proud day. And then coaching championship teams, that's a collective thing, right? That's a team thing. And so certainly those are good days too. So lots of good things to celebrate. Again, I'm fortunate to have coached a lot of good players, and for them to have continued to go on and have their own dreams and live out their dreams and play at a high level. It's extremely gratifying to see it and watch it and know that I could have played, hopefully, a small little part in all of that success.
Yeah. Are there other players that we would know, probably representing their national teams, that those of us who follow international football would know, that would have passed through maybe Maryland or the Tennessee program while you were head coach?
Yeah. So possibly so. We have had at Tennessee, I'm very proud to say that we have had representation in each of the last 5 U20 World Cups, right? So, which is great. We've had players going back 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016, and 2018. And there's one Tennessee girl that was just in a camp last week out in California trying to make this summer's U20 World Cup team, right? Whether or not you guys, people back home in Jamaica would know those names. Katie Cousins is one of them. She currently plays for Angel City. She played as the defensive midfielder on Bunny's teams at Tennessee. She's playing for Angel City in the NWSL. Another one is Erin Gilroy. You guys probably wouldn't know her. Unfortunately, her career fell short because of knee injury. She also played with Bunny at Tennessee. Hannah Wilkinson is the starting number 9 for the New Zealand national team. She has played in the last 3 World Cups. She's played in the Olympic Games. Another Wilkinson is Rian Wilkinson, who played at Tennessee. She is also she's gotten into coaching. She is now the head coach at the Portland Thorns in the NWSL. So she's moved along and also it helped England youth national teams over the last couple of years. There's a girl, Jasmine Spencer, who she's an American girl. She hasn't played at the national team level, but she was kind of the center forward at the University of Maryland, who really got us to be a top 10 national team back in 2009 and 10 and 11. She is still playing. They've converted her to an outside back. She's playing, starting in the back for Angel City. And then there are guys that I coached. I go back to early 2000s at Maryland, and Omar Gonzalez played for the full national team.
Oh, yes.
Graham Zusi played for the full national team.
Okay.
Still playing in the MLS. And so fortunate to coach a number of guys. The Herman Trophy is the best player in the country, and Jason Gary was the Herman Trophy Award winner in 2005, and I was fortunate to coach him. So I've been around and touched a lot of great players in my career. And just, again, I look back on it and I just know I'm a fortunate guy, and I look forward to all the fortunate kids that might only be 10 or 12 or 14 years old right now, but 5, 10, 15 years from now, I'm going to be able to touch their lives in some capacity.
Awesome. Let me just state this question. He says, in his recruitment process, does he take a look at the CONCACAF U17 tournament that just took place, or he only focuses here in the US for talent? So this is someone in the States asking, do you look at the CONCACAF tournament to see if there are kids there who could, or you just wait until they make it to the States? And
No, great question. Actually, the last World Cup qualifying for CONCACAF, I think it was either 2 or 4 years ago. Maybe it was 3 years ago because of COVID. It was at IMG down in Bradenton, Florida.
Yes, yeah.
And I went down and
because Jody was at that the under 20. Was it the under 20 tournament?
No, she was probably with the 20s. But this was U17, and I don't think Jody was there. This would have been probably spring of 18 or 19.
In 2019, I think she played the U20 tournament.
Okay, that sounds right. But what I'm talking about was I was at the U17 qualifying.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, and ironically, there was a girl playing there named Leilani Nesbitt, who I went after from Bermuda. Okay.
Right. She just played in the World Cup qualifiers for Bermuda.
Yeah, she's here at Florida State. So now I get to coach her. I tried to bring her to Tennessee, just like Jody, and those two are very good friends, right? They always tease each other, Jamaica versus Bermuda, right? And so we're always looking. There were a couple of kids in that same qualifying from Costa Rica that I talked to a little bit. Unfortunately, because of the timing of the U17 from just a couple of weeks ago, I didn't get to see as much of it as I have liked, because I've just taken this job in the last 4 weeks, and I'm just getting to know our players here. But I've got some help and my staff. We're all looking through it and trying to make sure we don't, miss any good players. And like I said to you before we came on air, I was texting with Jody. I watched a little bit of a Jamaican game, and I was texting with Jody and looking for her insight on some of the U17 Jamaican kids, right? Because kids know, right? And so we don't care in our roster, right? Florida State, we currently have, I believe it's 9 internationals on our team. That has been the prior coach at Florida State is a guy named Mark Krikorian, and he has always taking international football very seriously, and he probably in any given year minimum has 5 to 7 kids from other countries on the team. And as I alluded to, we've got Jamaica, we've got Bermuda, we have Portugal, we have China, we have Canada, we have I don't know if I said Japan, we have England, we have Ireland, all currently, we have Sweden, all currently on our team right now at Florida State.
Whoa.
Yes.
You see the reason why? So this person is just a follow-up saying the reason for that question is because I think that the left back and the U17 for Jamaica have great talent. This is the same person I was telling you about. I think she wears I think she wears number 6. I think her name is Andrine Smith. But she's the only left-footed player.
Okay.
I think from what I saw on the Jamaican roster. I mean, big but very young.
I love it.
I just find it fun that he's saying the same thing. But I think her name is Andrine Smith. I'm not sure. Somebody will probably.
I got it. I will find it. I took screenshots from Twitter of their starting lineups in their game. And when you
she got injured, so she was missing in the. And I think that is what affected the team because she got injured after the first 2 games. So when they went on to the other rounds, she didn't actually play.
Get to play. Okay, good. Okay, got it.
Because when I look, the approach to football in the States seems to be very systematic. Like you can see from the grassroots to high school soccer or to clubs and academies, then to college, then to the NSWL. All right. In Jamaica, I think we have a very big gap. Right. So we have nothing almost until you get to high school. And then after high school, there's a big gap because the next level is the local league or you go overseas, right? Which is I think part of our whole. So when a Kadijah Shaw, for example, makes it is such a big story because there was this how do you just move from high school into and Jody Brown. Jody Brown, for example, was playing parish football, which is league football, from when she was in high school because of the small numbers of people females playing and all of that. Now that is where we want to get to, where you are at, where there's a systematic plan. I mean, how long did it take for the United States to have that? And we may not have all the resources, but what are some of the things that can be done locally, the principles that you apply there that we can really, make the gap between the different areas, high school to college? What must we do to get them, that when you get them in your hands, you're not just getting a Kadijah Shaw, a Jody Brown, but there are several players coming over there at the top of their game?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, obviously, our country is massive, right? And like you said, there's so many kids playing, and we're continuing to evolve. And someone might make an argument that our country is almost too big because how do you really grab a hold of everybody and really find the best players? And it's a little bit of a challenge on the men because really kids thrive the best when they're in a training environment with the best players and playing against the best players all the time. For Jamaica, I remember Bunny telling me the story. She barely touched the ball before she was 9 or 10 years old because it's a predominantly male sport, right? And so it's the boys that are playing in the streets, and it's kind of not cool if a girl wants to play in the streets, right?
There you go.
And that's the amazing thing about a Bunny Shaw breaking through and Jamaica going to the World Cup. It almost gives a green light for all the young girls out there to play soccer in the streets and get better, right? And so now there have to be enough kids that want to play, and there's got to be a platform, right? And you asked before about, how do I recruit kids? Well, I'm lucky to have a platform of Florida State, Tennessee, Maryland. These kids, they've got to have a place to play first and foremost, right? If you're a 6-year-old girl in Jamaica, where can you go play, right? If it is the streets, well, obviously a lot of very good players from around the world grew up playing soccer in the streets, right? And so that is not the worst thing, but as long as they're allowed to play, right? They got to be able to put their foot on a ball and be able to play and it be accepted. And then ideally, and this is where Jamaica is just hard because of the size of your country, right? And then even within the country, I'm not going to talk as though I know, right? Because I don't really know, but still a little bit spread out. And so how are you able to get the kids who want to play and then the best players all playing together? Because that's how they all develop the best. Does that make sense?
Definitely, there is only one. There's only one female academy in Jamaica.
Right.
That's strictly female. That's the other thing, right? There's only one, and it's located, like I said, in Kingston, which is the capital. So anyone anywhere outside of that. So I recently had Ramin Kiani, who is ahead. He's one of the senior coaching educators in Switzerland, and he said that in Switzerland, their players, I think up to age 12, they stop having um up to 15 is where they stop having female and males playing together. All right, so our high school system really, if you are 12 years old, and you're playing in you're going to play in the high school system because there's no league below that level. So imagine now you're 12 and it's one high school competition, and this is you're like a seventh grader, but you're playing against someone who is in
18.
there you go. So this is a struggle I think we have. How are we going to develop the 12-year-old when we have an 18-year-old that you're playing in the same competition together? We can't stop the 12-year. We can't have a 12-year that a competition like for under 14 because we don't have enough players to do that. But we know in reality it is best if you're separated.
Right. Yeah. It's a challenge. And, you look at Bunny, you look at Jody. Jody left home, right? When she was, 15-ish?
Yeah. Going 16, yeah.
16, right? Yeah. And then Bunny, I know she flew back and forth, right? There was a guy that was, when she was in high school, was flying her back up to Miami to play in tournaments and games and things like that, and got her some exposure to more consistent, higher level games, right? Which was helpful for her. But those are special kids, right? I think bottom line is I like the idea of boys and girls playing together. It's
up
good
to what
for
age?
The girls. What's that?
Up to what age?
Yeah, not that old. Not that old. Like honestly, not much above
12.
Yeah. Oh, definitely latest, like, and potentially 10. Because just boys and girls are still different, right? And so you got to be able to develop the boys at the same time, right? And so is that necessarily the answer for them? But I think it can be for all the kids up to about the age of 10. You just need players. And if you have a pool of players, you need numbers, right? And that's where our country is so blessed. We have so many numbers, and it's so competitive that the cream eventually rises to the top, right? And so Jamaica just needs a pool of kids, and so much development can happen before the age of 10, right? In these other countries, they have some of their best coaches, and this doesn't occur in the US, but it occurs overseas. They have their best coaches working with their younger kids, working with their 6-year-olds, the 8-year-olds, the 10-year-olds to perfect technique, right? And that's why these countries are on the men's side so far ahead of the US on the men's side, because our top coaches work with college age kids or professional teams or whatever the case may be.
But you know what a lot of coaches will say, what is the incentive if I'm the top coach?
Totally. To go work with the young kids. 100%.
Yeah, and I think that especially in a marketplace like Jamaica, where like the salaries and wages for the sport, even at the highest level, is not good enough.
Yes, understood.
Right. So how do you, which it makes, that is how it ought to be. And we keep hearing it. Your best coaches should be with the youngest age groups. to get the fundamentals right.
But it
But
doesn't even happen.
financially, how does it work?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it doesn't even happen in the US. But if in Jamaica you still have a bigger pool of players, right? At that younger age, then the game sometimes can be the best teacher, right? Just letting them play, just having a place to play, right? Playing in, on a field, you have numbers, play 5v5, play 10v10, whatever your number, just being able to play. And then you get kids who fall in love with it, and then the demand is greater, and then kids just have to have a place to play,
Let me ask you this question. I mean, so hypothetically speaking, somebody says, listen, you direct the football. We want more females to be playing football from as early as possible. All right. This was given to you as a task.
Yep.
Like what comes to mind in terms of, all right, here is the one of the better ways of doing that. How do I get them to even play 5-on-5? Here's this is because I love that idea, because just to hear you say play 5-on-5, maybe that's what we need to do. Just go to our primary schools, which is the level below high school, and say, listen, we're just going to keep female football 5 versus 5. I mean, just any 5 girl from your school, it's between age 9 to 12, I don't know, and it's 5v5. And just let them play. It don't matter.
And they're playing. Balls on their foot, and fewer numbers is actually better, because now they get more touches on the ball, right? You play 10v10, and now there's less actions for the actual kids, right? So to answer your question, you go to, obviously you've got Kingston, you've got Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, right? You almost have to have like little small communities, and I don't know whether you do it by the school or you do it by the town. Now you just have these little leagues, and whether it's 3v3, 5v5, 7v7, just providing a place to play. Now, out of that, now you have, ideally, okay, your top players from Montego Bay, your top players from Ocho Rios, top players from Kingston. Now there's got to be a place for all of them to get together to play with one another, right? And now maybe a top team, and I'm just thinking and talking, and you may think I'm crazy, right? Now you get a top team of kids from all these different little communities, and now maybe they're going to the U.S. to compete in a tournament or something like that, right? But you just got to, they have to have a place to play. That's where it has to start. Where a place to play. And then trickle-down effect, maybe more girls will want to play, right? And they see that it's okay, and it becomes a more accepted thing. Let's face it, it wasn't that long ago when Bunny was 10 years old and standing over there on the side watching her brother play and feeling like that she wasn't allowed to step in and play, right? So I think Jamaica's probably still in a place where they're making it acceptable for young girls to play, to want to play, and okay to play.
Yeah. All right. So I'm like, Sir Isaac Newton, right? All of these ideas just pop up in my head, and I'm like this crazy scientist that sometimes something finally works out, right? So just saw Brian, saw Bunny, and I saw Brown, which represent Jody. Right, so you can imagine you have the 3Bs, 5-a-side tournament. Maybe that's something that also you could come to Jamaica and probably just for a weekend, just have girls between a certain age just play a tournament somewhere. So maybe you need to say, hey, Bunny, listen, just one weekend out of the year. We go down on a Thursday and we fly back out on a Sunday. They all come and meet us here and play. You, Bunny, and Jody, Brian, Brown, and Bunny.
The 3Bs 3v3 tournament.
There you go. For females, maybe that's something, and that will excite young girls how to play. But Coach, have you ever thought about coaching at the international level? Meaning one of the not club level, the professional level, but international level in terms of a nation.
Well, obviously that would be quite an honor, right? I not to sell myself short, but I've always been so focused on my college team, my U.S. college team. I've never honestly seen it as an achievable goal. But obviously, you never know, right? You never know. I was joking earlier that I'm an older guy, but I'm also, I'm 53. I hope I have 40 plus more years of life, right? And a lot of years coaching left. But to coach at an international level, and whether you're talking about Olympic Games or a World Cup, that's all I've had the pleasure of doing is watching former players do that. If I could ever be on that stage, once again, I'd be a fortunate man.
Awesome. This person, Tough Rudy, is saying that I assume he visits a lot of ODP tournaments. We need programs like that in Jamaica. What is the
Well,
ODP program?
Yeah, so that stands for Olympic Development Program. And it's a program that actually has kind of tailed off. It has lessened a little bit. It's a little bit less important now in the U.S. than it was 15 years ago. But it was just like it's the exact program that I said a couple minutes ago for Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, and then Kingston. It's how it's in this country. They would take the best players from the state of Maryland, the best players from the state of Texas, the best players from the state of California, the best players from the state of Florida. And then all the states would play against each other. And then they'd make regional teams. So Southeast region team, a West Coast region team, a Northeast region team. And then the regions would play against each other. And that's how they make the U.S. national team. And so that is what I was explaining for Jamaica. It's like, okay, best players from here, 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 and here. Now put the best players all together. And now that's how you make your national team. Jamaica, obviously, these last X number of years, they've done a nice job discovering a lot of Americans. They've also discovered some kids overseas with some Jamaican heritage. And there are a lot out there.
So we should continue to let other people develop them.
Correct. Hey, it doesn't matter. But every country does it, right? When Jurgen Klinsmann took over the U.S. men's national team, right, in 2011 or whatever that year was, that was his first mission. His first agenda was, let me find players that are already playing in Germany and in England that have some connection to America that I can bring to my country. So he did basically what Hugh and Lauren did for Jamaica. That's what Jurgen was trying to do for the U.S. Who are the Americans around the world that have American ties that I can bring to the U.S. national team? It's very smart.
Yeah. I like what Troy Mitchell is saying. He says the 3Bs can partner with the 3Ms, Mitchell Medical Missions, and get this tournament going. I'm not so mad after all.
Good call. There you go. That's a partnership.
Yes, that's a good partnership right there. I mean, that's a good partnership. The international team is saying that the international team may not pay as much as FSU. So,
no comment, Troy.
But how when you first saw Bunny, like when she walked into the University of Tennessee, what went through your mind? I wonder what I'll get. Or listen, I have a star on the hand, and Tennessee is going to turn around. I wonder. And then, has she surprised you, or you knew this from the moment you saw her play that first time? You knew that this was a star in the making.
Yeah. So Bunny was at Eastern Florida University, her junior college, right? And actually, you mentioned Navarro before. She actually started at Navarro and then went to the school in Melbourne, Florida. And so I went down and watched her play in Melbourne, and she was playing as a center midfielder. And she's obviously, right, big stature, right, 5'10", 5'11", very good on the ball, can hit a ball with both feet. But I'm watching her, and actually I'd already seen some video on her playing with Jamaica, and she was playing center midfield, maybe a little bit of 6, and then even playing as a center back a little bit. And I saw some of her goals where she's finishing goals off of corner kicks and free kicks with her head. But I went and watched her, and I'm thinking, okay, this kid, how is she not playing up top? How is she not a 9? Like, she needs to be close to goal, because there are no center backs that want to deal with her, right? Her combination of size, speed, soft feet, her brain, all of it, she can score a lot of goals, right? What I didn't know is, okay, how good is she in front of goal, right? So then, obviously, I started talking to her a little bit. She always fancied herself as a 10. She always wanted to be attacking midfielder, right? I was like, okay, Bunny, okay, all right, we'll see. We'll talk about it, right? But in my brain, I'm like, this kid's a 9. She needs to be up top. So when she came, she was the nicest, sweetest kid. And our kids, she arrived one day in the plane, right? And our kids were playing pickup, and I asked her if she wanted to go play. She wanted to go hop in. She's like, I want to take a nap. I'm tired from the travel. I said, okay, Buns. So we brought her to the field later, and she just watched. And really, she only watched because she was shy. She was a little bit nervous. She was nervous about taking someone's position because she was just such a nice kid. She didn't want to make people angry. I think she had some former experiences where she'd stepped into teams and taken positions and upset some players. She didn't want to do that. But then we started getting her in training. We started getting her in front of goal. And I started to realize it was actually, I think, her third or fourth game, she had a hat trick. And she scored a couple of goals that had some phenomenal individual moments where we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to be pretty good because this kid is just different, right? And so at that point, we actually had a joke. Her coach at the school in Florida was a guy named Jeff Carr. And so we actually had a joke within our staff. Okay, who's going to be the MVP, the most valuable player of our team this year? Is it going to be Bunny? Or is it going to be Jeff Carr, who helped us get Bunny? And we had to give all credit to Jeff Carr. And Jeff Carr, he helped her, right? And he was, Bunny was very sad to leave Jeff when she left him. Bunny's a relationship kid, right? And I remember I was down at her playoff game when she lost. The kid was broken up, crying her eyes out when she lost, and she knew her career at Eastern Florida was over. And she was so sad that she couldn't win a championship for Coach Carr, right? And that's the kind of kid that Bunny is. And she knew how much she meant to Coach Carr and what he had done for her and how he had taken her under her wing. And so I knew that was the kind of person. In addition to getting a phenomenal player, I knew that I was getting a special kid. And then she came to Tennessee and obviously took us to heights that the program had never been to, right? The Elite Eight, which is the final 8 in our country, and that was a big deal. And obviously, in that same fall, she did the same thing with Jamaica in qualifying in the fall of 18, taking Jamaica to the World Cup. Obviously, 6 months later, being the leading goal scorer in CONCACAF. She just taking teams to places teams had never been before, and truthfully, no surprise.
Okay, and I mean, I don't know, but I think like she's just at the at the tip of the iceberg. Like there's so much more to go. I know that recently came out like PSG wanted her, because I think probably in the next 2-3 years we're going to see the within the next 2 to 3 years, I think we're going to see a better part in terms of her career, because the ceiling is so high. And I think as she continues to play professionally, I mean, do you believe that she's going to even matriculate into a much greater player than she is today?
Yes. And her birthday is in January. And so she just turned, what year is it? 22? I believe she just turned 24, 25. Right? 25. She turned 25 this winter.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So she's still 97 birth year. Okay. So she's still a baby, right? She's still a baby. And she's now just finishing her 3rd year professionally, right? 2 years in France,
1
year now in England. And I remember talking to her 1 year ago when she was ending her 2 year contract with Bordeaux, and NWSL teams, they wanted to bring her back to America and to this country. And she just talked a lot about development, right? Obviously, she has a great contract with Man City, but she wanted to stay in Europe because she wanted to continue to get better and wanted to continue to develop. And she felt like she still had so much more to learn as a player. And now she's playing at such a high level. I think arguably, right, the league she's in is the best league in the world. And so Bunny, every single day in training, she's competing, right, for the starting 9 position with Ellen White, one of the top strikers in the world. And that's how it's no different than we're talking about playing on the streets in Ocho Rios, right? You got to compete for a spot, right? And so you're playing together and you're competing and fighting for your life. And Bunny's now experiencing that. She didn't have that same kind of fight in France, right? She won the Golden Boot her second year. She still hard for her, still challenging, right? But now she's in England and at Man City, she's got to fight for her life every single day. And she'd probably tell you it's very hard and it's a big challenge, but she'd also probably tell you it's the best continued thing for her development. And so I agree. The next 2 to 3 years are going to be very special and hopefully longer than the next 2 to 3 years. And she's got a long career ahead of her still.
Final, because we get into an hour. What about Jody Brown? I mean, I know you haven't coached her yet,
Yes.
but you'd have been, obviously, you'd have been watching clips, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think she's probably, in terms of, from what I've seen in CONCACAF so far, in terms of her speed and her skills, I think she's right up there, even though she's young, in terms of her ability to take on players one on one and
Yes.
her pace.
Yes.
So she's not just fast, but she's very skillful with the ball.
Totally.
On her
And
feet.
I think Jody is very underappreciated and undervalued as a soccer player, right? I think people immediately just look at her speed, and she's a great athlete. But I remember going to watch her. I think she was maybe in 11th grade, maybe when she was 16, 17, watching her in a high school game. And I said this to her a couple weeks ago when I met with her. She is very good on the ball. She is very comfortable on the ball. Her technique with both feet, it is very good. And she's very clever, right? And she has a good brain. And we joked about it when we met. I really think Jody can play anywhere on the field. She is extremely versatile. And actually this spring, Florida State, I told you before, there's so many international kids. They had so many international kids away with national team. She actually had to play, and I told her not to get any crazy ideas, but she played center back for a game this spring. So she can literally, and even in the NCAA tournament this past fall, they were in the national semifinal and playing against Rutgers, and Rutgers had a very strong, fast, powerful number 9. In the last 15 minutes of the game, Florida State was ahead 1-0, and they brought Jody to the back to help deal with that kid because she was so fast. And Jody shut her down, and that kid didn't want to have to play against Jody because Jody was so fast. So I think Jody, I am so excited to coach her because I think you talk about Bunny's next 2 to 3 years. I think at the college level, the next 2 to 3 years, Jody is really going to have a little bit of a coming out party. And then just beyond in her career, the sky's the limit for that kid. And I think she's pretty hungry and excited about her own future.
You know what is funny? I hope what you did with Bunny, you took her from midfield to forward. That move for Jody is from the wings to forward and not backwards.
No. The only backwards it would be happening is if we are in dire straits. But I want Jody as close to goal as possible because I know no defenders want to play against Jody. Simple as that. She can put teams on their heels and she can help a team score goals. And that is every intention that we have.
Brian, listen, this is so good. I feel like I could talk to you all day, but I know it's a busy time. You know, you're just changing stuff, so I don't want to keep you long. I know you had several meetings, but I hope we can talk again. Listen, and I'm going to connect the Mitchells. You guys are all connected because Bunny's connected to them, you connected to them. So there's a way that we can just make this happen. Just a weekend, just get some, just get kids playing,
Get kids playing. And obviously Jody, the Brian in the 3Bs is the least attractive B. But if we get Bunny and Brown, then I think we'll get some girls out there.
Listen, it's so easy, right? Because generally, a lot of these, like if you're looking at that age, getting like probably six tops for kids and shorts, very
That's it.
easy stuff. The
That's it.
surfaces are here because it's like 2 days, so it's not long. The players are here, so I look forward for that to happen, and maybe that will be the springboard where we see more young ladies. I mean, participating in
I
it.
love
But
it.
all the best at FSU. All right, no,
Thank
this
you,
this this is
Omar.
a big thing, because listen, they won, so you have to
I know.
keep winning. The pressure is on.
Oh, I know, Omar. I know. You don't have to tell me that. I feel it
so
every day.
so I just figured out you took a huge risk, because I mean you're at Tennessee. I think they were extending your contract there as well. So it's not like, okay, but you're taking on a program that had a winning. It's a winning program.
Oh, I know.
All
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So it's
Thanks for.
really,
I
yeah.
appreciate you piling that pressure on. Thanks, Omar.
Yeah. But thank you so much for your time. Really enjoy the conversation. And thank you for
Likewise.
your work in developing Bunny Shaw, moving her from, because we do need her up front. So I'm
Need her
glad that
close
you
to goal.
saw the goal scoring thing and moved her into that number 9
And she
spot.
didn't
And we
want
know
it.
that,
She didn't
yeah.
want it. She didn't want it. She didn't want to go. She didn't want to be a 9. She wanted to be a 10.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, look at
She
that.
wanted to be a 10. But she I think she realizes that she's not too bad out there.
Yeah. And I know Jody's in good hands. And so we're
Yeah, we're
looking
gonna take care
forward.
of Jody. We're gonna take care of her. We're gonna love her. We're gonna help her be better. And I'm just like Bunny Shaw. I was lucky to be Bunny's coach, and I am just a lucky guy to be Jody's coach as well. No question.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I think that left footer, her name, somebody just confirmed it, that her name was indeed Andreen Smith.
Okay,
I think
got it.
that was her name. Yeah.
Got
She
it.
was a left
All
footer
right.
in the program.
All right.
All right, coach. Thank you so much.
Omar,
Listen,
thank
and
you.
no. Thank you. Listen, man. When we're in the States and we say Brian, if they say Omar Stennett, who? When they turn
Omar,
up and say Brian Pensky, hey, you spoke to that guy. I feel like I'm in the presence of a great celebrity right here. So thank
no,
you
you're not.
for coming on, for taking the time. Really appreciate it. And
You are welcome.
maybe one of these days, if you decide that, listen, the college thing, I've done it too much, I'm going to step into the international space.
You
Hey,
never,
I know where a job
you
is
never,
available. It's
you
right
never
on the
know.
island. It's
You
right
never,
on the island. You will have the beaches. You'll have some good players.
that's pretty nice.
Yes.
That's pretty
So
nice. Well, and thank you to the Mitchells for hooking us up, for connecting us. I enjoyed this.
yes. All right. Bless you. Have a wonderful season. Rest of the day and be safe. And we'll talk.
All right, back to you. Thank you, Omar.
You're welcome. All right, bye. All right. So there you go, people. Wonderful time with Coach Brian Pensky. Wonderful discussion. I hope you learned something. You heard something. Um, yeah. But it was such a good time. Thank you for being a part of the discussion. Um, for those of you in the comment section, appreciate your company as well. Thanks to the Mitchell who made this happen. Thanks to Coach Brian for tuning in and for coming on and making himself available. Again, be safe. And remember, like we said in the beginning, beneath every lump of clay, there could be gold lying. So keep using that hammer and that chisel to knock the dirt away so you can see the gold beneath the surface. I am Management. This is I Am Sure Sports. And we are over and we are out.
Me say I am sure sports.
You know what about dog? SK New Air this. The body out there. Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Ocho-Race, Galtigo Bay. Everywhere. I Am Sure Sports. Check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like? Ha. Yeah, someone on for the food from young, from we day you need height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.